Alright. Hello, this video is topic. It's we have not learned our lesson, so we'll look at more or less probably plural than singular, like just saying lesson. We're saying that each one is an individual lesson that we learn. So we're trying to learn how to, instead of saying like blaming somebody or anything, say you were done wrong. We'll say that it was a lesson that we learned so that we can avoid having to blame somebody else for why things are the way that they are. If you have some personal problem or issue, if somebody attacks you or something, and you know it's not right, we take that and how we deal with it now is we say that it's just one of life's lessons thrown at you. So to clarify that, so I just wanted to say that when I hear or I see people basically flocking to go listen to any of the Democrats after 8 years of ridiculous swindling by liberals in Washington, how people would flock to go listen to them. They remind me of people that are uninformed that you wish wouldn't go and vote because they obviously don't know. I explained that in a video, the last video I made, how they went and talked to people when Obama first became president, and they asked all these people critical questions about their country and about what their candidate that was up there suggests, what they think and the actions that they would take as president. And the people were confused. They were acting like basically John McCain. I think of him kind of as a rhino, but looking back at that, I didn't ever hear him really being maybe as extensively progressive as the Clintons or the Obamas. As if Obama's not using, if he went and hired Bill Clinton's cabinet, like basically all the people that could help him kind of continue the Bill Clinton legacy is pretty much more or less what it looks like to me is Bill Clinton's playbook. And I'm just saying now that's detrimental to the country. We can blame Bill Clinton. We can blame whoever we want, voters, for voting him in whenever obviously the guy clowns around, and you know that liberals are a bunch of clowns and they're going to clown your country around. They think that they need to get even with it. They'll have a different reason for wanting to get even with America, but consequently, they're going to come and take actions against our country, not actions for favorably for our country. So you see, there's a big difference between a Republican, the Republican Party, and the Democrats right there. So now, I was hearing like some rhetoric about Bernie Sanders. All I see is like it's a continuation of any other socialist or liberal that is flooring it to destroy America, in my opinion. But he came out with like yesterday or sometime this week. He or it might have been part of last week that they got this, but I just seen it like yesterday. But he's now attacking the Republican Party, and he's saying that he came up with a proposal for the veterans and that the Republican Party didn't support it. They only got two that were voting for it. So they're trying to use Republicans. We need to, I don't know exactly what that's all about, but in my opinion, when I'm thinking about it, I think about how Obama tried to nationalize the police and nationalize like all emergency response people. So it's like kind of like what the Nazis did, and Nazi Germany, basically, nationalize it. But I don't understand how people don't see that Obama does what he does to also, so maybe he can maybe maintain control and become a dictator if the the country went completely belly up, kind of like what they're mashing the gas throttle doing. Um, they got the pressure on America to waste and spend money like it's going out of style or something like that. So I just want to know why, and I keep trying to tell people, like, another reason, like, maybe you should reconsider your voting if you don't know these other things, like Bush had a surplus. Mainly what I mean in that is that he had a budget going, and he, through Congress and other means, he was staying on top of paying paying for those debts, not making it keep on going higher and higher and higher. Obama hasn't done a budget the entire time that he's been in there. So they come out there, and this Bernie Sanders comes out there, and he's all like, "Oh, I had a uh, real plan to reach across the aisle or whatever." Like, they came up with and they never do. When Pelosi was Speaker of the House, I believe, when they were basically funding the troops in Iraq, like in 2010, maybe something like that. She was trying to make the military union, from what I remember. So um, there's a lot of different maneuvers by these liberals. They they don't see like truly how to I think um, construct people's abilities to function on their own too much. Um, so that's why taxes kind of go up a little bit more, or as much as they can get it to go up while liberals are in there. So they're not helping the situation out anymore. And they're talking about, all right, they're talking about the Bush tax cuts. I'm gonna bring this up and explain this one more time. Um, how this um, worked, how this bill worked. So you gave, over a 10-year period, over a decade, you gave all the richest people in America the opportunity to make more money, but at the same time, through those tax cuts, you were supposed to monitor all of these businesses that took the incentive. They could say, all right, we don't want to be monitored like that, and they could have opted out of the tax cut and continued being taxed if they wanted to, I would suppose. But part of the Bush tax cuts, and this, no liberal would ever point this out and tell you this is part of their strategy if they became president. See, this is why I would love to be the president, because I would go to all of those places, and I would show statistically, through over the time, the decade, it was a decade, for crying out loud, I would show you every single year how these people either abused what they were given, or they put it back into their business like they were supposed to, and they made their product better. So it was supposed to make the product better for us, at least, or help them expand their businesses, help them hire more people. So I would look at all of the statistics from all of that, and I would say, look, we went 10 years after that, and the Democrats that were in Washington weren't even concerned with even taking people to jail or to justice for the housing market collapse. and that is that's a crime that I'm sure if you put enough emphasis on it, you can charge those criminals with something for doing that. Especially if they knew they were going to be ripping people off and the people weren't going to be able to pay for what they had, and they went and scammed it anyway just so that they could make money, and they laughed they laughed at it. Those people, I guarantee you, they broke the law. They did something that was um, not right. It's eerie and it's ridiculous. It's not like how Trump or anybody else that's well known for being a billionaire made their money, or even I would say Bill Gates or Oprah, even though I don't really like them very much. I would say they're still different as far as how they made their money compared to. Um, I mean, I think Bill Gates kind of ripped people off a little bit. I think he could be a little bit more, a lot more. I think. What do you say? Generous with his products, but he goes as far and beyond as he can, in as far as how much he and wherever his products are sold are way overpriced as far as I'm concerned. Just ridiculously with no concern over other people or what's going on in the times. It's like um here, take care, figure it out on yourself now. Figure it out on your own, and basically that's what you thought, that they thought they were electing Obama so that he could basically take care of all their needs, so they wouldn't have to worry ever again. And that's funny because he took care of basically the top people in the triangle, and they basically let the government rip society off to where they're sucking America dry. So I don't understand why people do that from time to time. I can show you why things are all made in Mexico or made in China or made somewhere else was mainly because of Bill Clinton, him sending our businesses, factory jobs mainly overseas with the bill that he made, that he uh, signed and put into legislation while he was president. So tell me they're not attacking America. So people think that that our country is going to benefit from voting for these people, regardless of who they are. If they're in the Democrat Party, I don't even know how the Democrat Party, honestly, is not put up on trial. Straight up, just seriously put up on trial. The whole party. Um, I don't know how extensive, but they need to. I don't know how extensive, but they need to go to jail or pay for the crimes, broken laws that they did, trying to change law, or you know, act like they got some sense and they really don't. Whenever they been showing their butts lately, it's really an abuse on common people. So I don't understand why people would flock to go listen to somebody like Bernie Sanders. He was saying stuff like, everything that they say, if you get my point on this here, is stuff that they're going to do from government, how government's going to either control your ass, or they're going to tell you what to do, or they're going to make some kind of law. So really what somebody needs to do is they need to allow people to have less laws, take away laws, a lot of laws, like, you can legalize marijuana, something like that. I'm just saying ridiculous laws. Um, and then give the people a chance to really work together and not hate each other, and be kind of in a balance type kind of harmony together, everybody, so everybody can forget about the past if the past is bothering you, you can look at the future and feel assured that you're not dealing with some creepy people for a change, for a real change. These people are pretty scary. Um, as far as I'm concerned, now they, but I feel kind of like he's really kind of a weak president. I don't know why Geraldo or anybody else would want me to, why I have to sit there and talk all respectably about Obama and not call it exactly how I see it. When truly that, especially around election time here again, I'm telling people over and over again, I don't want to be beating a dead horse. Think about who you're voting for. Donald Trump sounds good, but what we really need is people that go to the government, become the president. If I don't become the president into where I can't make a sound decision and move for everybody while I'm there, the next person that goes there needs to be able to listen to everybody's word and not just be on these one people's side over here. You know, that's really one-sided. It's I don't know how you could think that that's any kind of leadership or some kind of skill developed if you're sitting there doing things like Obama does for whatever reason. He has a problem with America. He wants to get even with America. It's really disgraceful. So I don't know that, like, here's a hypothetical. I don't know if you could corner Obama, hypothetically, if you were able to put him in a chair, strap him up, put a shock mechanism on him every time he lies. It doesn't tell you what you asked him. It shocks him, and if he doesn't say something, it'll shock him anyway. It'll just keep shocking him every so often. But you want to answer. You want him to tell you why he hates America so much. What the dude's real problem with America is, and I think he's just a hate monger. I don't think he'd be able to really tell us what it is, but obviously there's a problem with the Democrat Party, and other people don't see it, and they think I'm a jerk or something whenever I talk about it, and it's really kind of ridiculous. They talk all the shit that they want, that they do, you know, when basically, but I like Bush, and I still hear, um, I don't want Jeb Bush, but I liked George Bush, and I think he wasn't a evil guy, but that's still my opinion. You know what I mean? So I had to hear people talk their smack about that guy, and people know I'm not crazy with the stuff when I'm talking about this guy that's in there. But nobody's learned their lesson. That we haven't learned their lesson. We go and we vote for them anyways. They're going to tax us to death, and they're going to put us in a position where we're going to fight each other, divide and conquer. And what's the difference between these puke faces that are in Washington, mainly liberals, right now, than the pukes that made us throw our tea, the tea in the harbor in Boston? Back in the day, what's the difference? I think they're much into the same thing. So it's just really disappointing how things have got to this, in my opinion. So I just really wanted to know, politicians are politicians. They're going to be um, clever with their words. They'll try to be whenever they go up there and they talk to you. But truly, there hasn't been a good Democrat president since Kennedy was killed. So Kennedy was truly the man, and It looks a lot more to me every day that the elitist type of people that are in charge, I'm not saying necessarily they did it or they're old enough to have had him killed back then, but it looks more like the people that were really wanting the government to be a certain kind of over the people, kind of they think they have to keep a little bit of control. Um, had definitely had what it, something to do with killing Kennedy. That's my opinion on it now, but I'm just kind of um, because I explain. I was gonna say left is I explain that people do not need to be controlled, even if they go and party and goof off and f off, f the stuff off, okay, at night or on the weekend or whatever. They go to the clubs or whatever. People can still maintain themselves and not that stupid, in my opinion. I do not. That's what another top reason why I have a problem with socialism and socialists and coming from the government and people explaining this and that and trying to push you around. If anybody coming from the government comes and tells me anything, they really need to give me a skill, or they need to give me something, some kind of way where I can be a little bit smarter, more intelligent than I am from yesterday. Moving forward, I need something beneficial, not not to put me in a position where um I can't control my own life and my own self. You know what I mean? So that's really my opinion. That's what I see when I see people going and voting for liberals. This Obama guy, whoever else you go to vote for that's a Democrat. If you like, yeah, I'm a staunch Democrat. I think of you being told what to do. Like you're voting for somebody to tell you something, what they want you to do, regardless if they do it their own self, okay, because they don't necessarily have to do it. They're in control of their selves, these politicians that we're voting for here. But but yet they don't give you a single tool on how to meet and greet your neighbor, being able to trust other people and not be dirty in society. They give you the honestly, they give you the opposite, and inflation goes up instead of inflation drop. What would they all do if inflation dropped all of a sudden immediately? I tell you, the uh minimum wage that they are fighting for people or whatever would drop down to like $4 or $2 if people could really pay buy a lot of stuff with the dollar. Then I'm saying inflation just drops and goes to nothing all of a sudden, and nobody would be able to say why, but much years later they could maybe try to weasel in and say, oh look, America in these businesses, they dropped the minimum wage to like $2. Well, it was because they made everything more accessible. So I don't know, do they really care? And have we really learned our lesson? Look at all of the Democrat presidents and really say what they did. And I don't know, I think you really need it's necessary. I'll give George Bush one more bailout, one more credence to him. Okay, Ronald Reagan towards the end of his reign presidency. Saddam Hussein. This is why I believe like the United Nations got out of something. They should have took out Saddam Hussein, and we shouldn't have had to have necessarily. But if they would have gotten in trouble, they would have called on us to bail them out anyways, and they might have got put themselves in a bind and lost a lot of people. So they needed us to go in there each time that we invaded Iraq or Iran or any of these other places, because these people, and yeah, they helped get through the CIA and stuff, they helped get Saddam Hussein in charge, but they don't do that back then, 30 years before 89 or however long they let Saddam be in charge for. Um, they don't expect the people to go out and start um, becoming a dictator right off the bat, I would guess. They expect them to be reasonable, responsible regimes, but you still have to show people that we're going to go in there and we're going to put our American foot up your butt if you don't manage your country and treat your people right. So, Saddam Hussein had ordered or something that the Iraqi military killed like a million people. So through Saddam's reign, he was able to be put in a position where he killed a million people. The guy had to go, regardless of what people say about the WMDs, which they found. They know for a fact that they buried the few that they couldn't they were moving them out of Iraq to Syria and Iran and moving them out of Iraq, and whatever ones they couldn't, they buried real quick. It's the true story. The true story of the WMDs. That's what really happened. Why there was none when we went there. So that was a crock of crap. But still, Saddam Hussein or anybody in the world who kills a million people, I mean, it's bullshit if you let somebody get away with killing, like murdering one person, but you're talking about innocent women and children that he killed, not just military people. So that's like a terrorist act in itself. So he had to go, but his dad didn't go in there and didn't take him out the first time around. So I would have to object that that's a little bit more sort of another reason on top of all of the other reasons why Bush didn't get reelected. It wasn't that he wasn't for full throttling our relations with the United Nations or anything like that either. But George Bush was a little bit more for America too. If you go back and research that, than he was for us being all too with the United Nations. He wanted businesses and things because of Dick Cheney. But anyways, so there's a lot of misconceptions about Bush and the war and what happened and how we occupy places and this and that. And it's really dangerous to just pull us out without really knowing that innocent people are going to be safe. Now, Iraq is one of the top 5 most dangerous places in the world, with Syria also. One of the places where I mentioned had the several WMDs go to. So those places also have these war devices that can be used against our troops also. So they're sort of sitting ducks, so I'm not completely 100% them occupying the place, but I want them to get the job done. Make sure people have as much protection as they can for themselves, and they can occupy their own country with freedoms like we have, and at least give them that before we cut and run and not leave them to something even more evil than Saddam even was. And Saddam killed a million people. So these guys are cutting people's heads, burning people alive, and trying to, rule the world, basically. That's what all the evil dictators do. But if you got a conqueror who's not evil, he wants to rule the world maybe with kindness, generosity, and be simple with people and not trick people and not try to be deceiving. So that's all I got for you, and I just wanted to know when will we learn our lesson?